Hello, greetings, 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 greetings. Thank you, Don. I guess you need to get my phone number so that you call me. All right, get my phone number so that when I'm going out, so that signal you. We cannot be at the same home, but then we don't know. So I'm gonna give you my phone number so that you know when you're busy and when I am not, so that we can be able to collaborate. I think that would be the best deal. So, but how elsewhere? How are you feeling today? uh, Amber, greetings. Col- Colonia, thank you, greetings. Don, thank you, greetings. I see you are marvelous work today. Keep people at work, and I think it was a wonderful, wonderful artwork, and that keep people very busy. I guess that was a good uh, reflection for us to think about what do we need to do to move forward. And we will be talking more. But thank you, and thank you, Mr. Tang, for joining in. This is Futon Daniel. I will be speaking momentarily, and I want to thank all of you that are tuned in. Remember that I will be broadcast on my Facebook and on my YouTube as well. And Pascal, thank you. If you just join in, remember that share, like, and do everything so that we get the information to the right source. And thank you. I will be from Kimbo. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Diodone. Thank you, Frederic. Thank you for tuning in. From Baghdad, absolutely, 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 absolutely. You're on the right track. Thank you, Mr. Christopher. Thank you, Nicole, for joining in. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Mba Richard. Uh, uh, Good evening. Thank you for those here in the great state of Texas and those in Ground Zero, those in La Republique, and those in Europe, those in Asia. Uh, I mean, we all together saw the images of the interim president, uh, President um, Ayuk Tabe Siseko. We all saw the images and uh, how a leadership, a dynamic leadership that was present today at the neighboring country, La Republique jailhouse. And it is quite painful when I see our interim president in the neighboring country, La Republique courthouse. Remember, they have no legitimacy, they have no legality. Every child of the Southern Cameroon has the legitimate right to question any relationship that we may engage or hoping to engage. But I want to first of all start by showing the images of Ayo present in the neighboring country, La Republique courthouse. Okay, take a look. It is quite, I mean, we all clear the doubt that the suspicious and the unbelief that we thought they were being killed because the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon, all of us, we do not trust that neighboring country. But when we were able to see the images of Seseko and some of the cabinet members, it is quite painful. Before I delve into my discussion, I want to first of all show some other images. They are not an offensive images, but that would be the topic of what I am going to talk about. I'm sure everyone has seen these images. This is the images of the southern Cameroon. That was the map presented to the United by the United Nations delegations to the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon. You may not be able to read this because of the nature of it. It is the vote. It is a vote that was conducted by the United Nations. You may not be able to see it, but I have it on my Facebook that you should be able to see. That was a vote that was conducted by the United Nations in 1961. That vote was conducted recognizing the sovereignty of the people of Ambazonian. That is the build-up of the topic in which I am going to be talking about today. For someone who have never seen it, I have it on my Facebook. That was the nation that was conducted here in the United States at New York. And it was the vote which recognizing our people as a legitimate people. And in this vote, it recognized that we have equal identity, equivalent to La Republique, and it was our choice to make such a decision. It was our choice. It was the choice because everybody that represent us, Jongo Foncha, represent the people of Amazonia, and every leadership that represent the people of Amazonia. During the days of the Jongo Fonchas, Endeles, Ngumjua, they represent the aspiration of the people of Amazonia. Just like Ayuk Tabe and his cabinet represent the people of Ambazonia. And so, whatever statement they stand on behalf of the people of Ambazonia. When the United Nations present this map, it was a reason to let La Republic know that the fact that you live together, it doesn't give you authority that there are two nations living together. For those who may have not seen it, that's the badge of the West Cameroon Police Force. I have it on my Facebook. That is the badge of the West Cameroon Police Force. This stands as a symbolism that we were a nation and that the fact that we choose to cohabiting with La Republique doesn't give La Republique a legitimacy over the people of Southern Cameroon. So that led to why is La Republique doing in Southern Cameroon territory? We have bring the attention for the world community that we, the people of Southern Cameroon, has chosen that La Republique is not part of Southern Cameroon, and that we have our legitimate government, and that we have asked La Republique representative that they need to back off out of Southern Cameroon. La Republique choose their military to invade the Southern Cameroon territory. We have an obligation to respond drastically and immediately and swiftly in response of any aggression to our territory. We have a legitimacy to respond to any foreign aggression. Our people have a mandate, a territorial and the right to respond to any foreign aggression. Even here in the United States, if Russia intervened in the United States have an obligation to respond drastically and eventually in every response, because it is an obligation for the United States for any foreign intervention in the sovereignty of the United States to respond to that nation swiftly, immediately, and aggressively. The United States has an obligation. When the Japanese launched their harbor invasion in the United States responds immediately, swiftly, and aggressively. It is an obligation that the United States must respond for any foreign invader that attempt to cross the boundary of the United States. And the United States military is alert and able to respond immediately and swiftly and aggressively. And so our people of Southern Cameroon, of course, United States did not get independent by the wish of the United Nations. United Nations is something that was formed in 1945 against the German aggression. And therefore, our people have an obligation. The fact that we cohabit with La Republique, we have an obligation to respond to La Republique invasion swiftly, appropriately, and aggressively. Fellow brothers and sisters, we are at war. The enemy of our nation is not us. The enemy of the people of Southern Cameroon is the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon. So we are at war. For those who haven't recognized that, our people have the ability and the mutual respect. We are not a sovereign nation under the auspices of La Republique. We are bringing this to the world community, that our people for the past 56 years has been answering yeses. But we have come to the point that we will no longer be answering yeses. We have come to the point that we must respond to our enemy swiftly and aggressively for their invasion of our territory. We will no longer romance with the system. As a sovereign nation, we have an obligation, we have an objective, we have the principles to enact and to react to any foreign aggression. It is our obligation to respect our sovereignty. The fact that we choose to cohabit with La Republique doesn't give La Republique an upper hand to invade our territory and murdering our sisters, murdering our brothers, murdering every aspect of our people in our own personal soil. We have an obligation to respond swiftly and aggressively to any foreign invader. Fellow brothers and sisters, I am here to assure the rest of the world community that the fact that we are not going to be sitting and romancing with La Republic, our people deserve a protection from security for the interest of the citizens of the southern Cameroon. When La Republic independence was proclaimed in 1960, part of southern Cameroon was not part of La Republic. When the people of southern Cameroon, that is why I show those images, I show those documents, because that is part of the discussion in which I am going to be talking about. When the southern Cameroon were voted by the United Nations in 1961, here in the United States, remember that La Republique was not part of this picture. La Republique was not part of these images. So here we find our leader, Ayokabe Seseko, in the midst of atrocity, in the midst of a jail that large government has no obligation, no power, no whatever to control our fellow brothers. I am here to let our fellow community, we are at war, and that the enemy will no longer be succumbed to La Republic. We must protect our sovereignty. We must protect our identity. We must preserve our culture. We must identify our cultural heritage. Our cultural heritage is what makes us who we are. As a citizen of the southern Cameroon, I will not relent my effort in ever what circumstances to support and subdue La Republique, wherever in what capacity. And that is why I am letting all fellow brothers and sisters that we must relentlessly initiate whatever effort we can take and to subdue La Republique. La Republique has no mandate in other capacity. So therefore, I am urging the people of Banso, the fund of Banso that has been romancing with the system, that it is an obligation that you respect our cultural heritage. We will no longer use a traditional regalia to support a nation that has no obligation over the sovereignty of our people. So the fund of Banso, I am letting you know that our people will no longer be romancing with this system. So if you have chosen La Republique, then you ought to migrate to La Republique, because we will no longer, every property of yours, it's time we can give you the time so that you pack your luggages and migrate to La Republique, because we will no longer sit and fold our arms and watch our fellow citizens murdered by La Republique, while with the complicity of your initiative. This is the moment that every fund or every chief, if you are in southern Cameroon territory, you must abide by the sovereignty of the people of southern Cameroon. For those who choose to eat with La Republique, then you have either moved to La Republique or you don't even appear in any form in our structure. Our people has got enough of their plate. So fellow brothers and sisters, we are at war. When the Port Harbour here in the United States was destroyed by the Chinese, by the Japanese, that drew attention for the United States. The United States knew that every part of the land of the United States and any foreign aggression will meet the manifestation of the might of the United States. And therefore, United States react immediately, swiftly, and counteract the Japanese aggression. And so therefore, the people of southern Cameroon will not sit and fold their arms and allow the Republic aggression into the southern Cameroon territory. Fellow brothers and sisters, we have asked La Republic to immediately and unconditionally release the cabinet of the people of southern Cameroon. We have told the world community, we have expressed our deep concern, and La Republic doesn't believe that we are capable to do something. Fellow brothers, we are at war. I am letting you know that La Republic need to release and unconditionally the cabinet member of the Southern Cameroon that are currently in La Republic jail. If in 1961 that the United Nations voted, they did not vote to allow the people of Southern Cameroon to join La Republic, that La Republic will subdue our people indiscriminately and smash them. So we must stand by. We must stand and counteract. Just as the United States counteracted the Japanese invasion, the Pearl Harbor in the United States. And so therefore we must counteract La Republic invasion in the Southern Cameroon territory. If you need any property that identifies La Republic, whether it's the vehicle, whatever capacity that identifies La Republic, until we sign a memorandum that we were going to work together. But when we haven't signed any memorandum, La Republic at the moment now is stand as the Japanese stand against the United States in the invasion of the Pearl Harbor. So we must counteract La Republic in whatever capacity. If you see any vehicle identified La Republic, it is the enemy vehicle that is in the house of in the Southern Cameroon. If you see any images, any effigy of La Republic in the Southern Cameroon, at the moment, stand as a threat to the people of Southern Cameroon. And any individual that stands as a blackleg, wherever it is in the Southern Cameroon, stand as the effigy of La Republic. So we need to stand and counteract it swiftly, immediately, and drastically. Fellow brothers and sisters, we have got enough for the past 56 years, and people have taken our advantages for our weakness. But however, this is the moment that we must stand and revenge against our enemy in whatever capacity. We will warn that the governor that is currently residing in Southern Cameroon, it's time that we are ready. We must prepare our scientists. We must prepare our weaponry. We have subdued to the point that we must revenge. Our people, our women have been raped by the neighboring country, La Republic. Our children have been destroyed. Our parents have been burnt in their home, And we have that pushed us to the wall, and that we have met a resistance. And that is why we must counteract any resistance from La Republic. We have asked La Republic to immediately and unconditionally release our people whom they are kept in their jail. They have no legality and jurisdiction to try our people in the neighboring country, La Republic du Cameroon. Fellow brothers and sisters, we are at war, and that the enemy is striving for progress. So I am asking that it's time we take a unilateral action, that any individual that you find that speaks French in our territory and identify himself or La Republique, then we know what to do with them. We can no longer sit and fold our arms and allow our people being destroyed, our culture destroyed, our identity destroyed, our languages destroyed, and who we are destroyed. We must stand together and face the enemy. Fellow brothers and sisters, this is not a moment that you sit and talk to your brother, we have no time. We have no time to sit and argue among ourselves whether is this the right thing. No, we know who our enemy is, and we must inflict the collateral damage to the enemy of La Republique, because they are the people that they are creating atrocity on behalf of our people. You saw the images that were coming out from Banso. Why the founder of Banso minimized his own people that he's supposed to stand with. Instead, he stands with the enemy traitor, La Republique, and ignore that we are people first before the neighboring country. But the founder of Banso choose the neighboring country over the sovereign of his people. Then he no longer be part of the people. He belongs to the neighboring country, La Republique, and he ought to deviate immediately and relinquish every power that has ever manifested to him on behalf of the people of Ambazonian. If you either stand with the spirit, we are people that identify with the cultural spirit. Our cultural spirit protects every citizen of the people of Ambazonian, irrespective of what religion he preaches, irrespective of whether he's a Catholic, irrespective of whether whoever he is. Fellow brothers, if you are a Southern Cameroon, you are governed by the spirit and the culture of the people of Ambazonian. But if you deviate from that fundamental culture and that you choose a neighboring country, then that spirit that protects you on the land of Amazonia, that spirit ceases to exist from you and you become a negative goat that will no longer stand for the people of Amazonia. For those incumbent, I am here to assure you that our people, our spirit is stronger than ever before. For those who choose to have a dinner with La Republic, then you ought to deviate from that dinner table because we will no longer condole with any such individual. Fellow brothers and sisters, we are at war. We must stand as one people. Together, the enemy will not find a plate to sit in our table. We have people that have disguise. You have Atanganji that minimize our people, the will of the people, and choose the enemy to destroy our sovereignty. I have no benefit that I could imagine that we should have from La Republique. La Republique, and over time, has been having a dinner, feeding on the food that it harvests from our people. And our people are not even getting the benefit of the food that we're supposed to. But yet, our people are suffering over our own homeland. If the people of the United States launch a campaign against the Japanese, when the Japanese drop a bomb in the port, in the harbor, and the United States stand united and revenge such an action and drastically, then what lesson did our people learn? Our people learned that we must stand together over the enemy, which is La Republique. We will no longer sit and fold our arms and allow La Republique to romance our people. If you are from Barefoot, I encourage you. If you are from Bali, I encourage you. Wherever you are, remember that our spirit is stronger than ever before. We have what they call the blacklist in our midst. We have cautioned them before. We have cautioned the blacklist that our home, our territory, belongs to the people of Ambazonia and does not belong to the people of La Republique. And so those who stood for the blacklist, I caution you that the time may be limited for you, but when the will of the people has stood up, they must revenge the enemy. I heard La Republique is training their military. I encourage them that they may be training to the Waterloo of the people of Southern Cameroon, because the moment that we have risen, there is no turning back. Why can our people self-govern themselves? Why can our people self-govern ourselves? Why must we be governed by a terrorist government of La Republique? Does it mean that our education has reached a point that we cannot self-govern ourselves? We must depend on a foreign nation to govern ourselves, to tell us how we should be governed, what kind of policy, what kind of freedom we should have. No, we have matured enough. We have had enough education. We have went to the highest level of education in the university. We've learned from other nations how they develop themselves. We should be able to decide and govern ourselves. We should be able to depend on a foreign government of La Republique to tell us how we should be governed. It is not the first time that we have learned to govern ourselves. We have governed ourselves. Remember, give me a minute. Fellow brothers and sisters, sorry, imagine President Ayub Siseko, President Ayub Siseko, an interim president of the people of Ambazonian. They should be able to have freedom to move within their southern Cameroon territory. They should have the power to question the existence of the neighboring country, La Republique. They should have a freedom to question any existence. And they're asking those questions on behalf of the people of Southern Cameroon. They have the legality and the choice. Let's take a quick example. In the neighboring country, La Republique, in one of their subdivisions, they have a 350 something populations. They have 11 representatives. Over in the Southern Cameroon territory, they have 500 and something populations. Guess what? They have 3 representatives. So when the 11 million that they usually contribute, the 11 millions they usually contribute to each parliamentarians. So with with the center province with the 350 having 11 representatives, and if you multiply the figure, you will realize that for every 11 million times 11, it will give how much money that goes to their own representative. Whereas in 400, whereas in our own area, where we have our own population, that is just, they have already 3 representatives. And the amount of money that goes to those 3 representatives is less significant to the goodness to carry on any development in that significant to our people. Why should our people be suffering by a neighboring country that the resources that comes from our own territory, 70% of the natural resources are being harvested from our own land, and yet we are not the beneficiary, despite the fact that they have their own independence in 1960 and our own independence in 1961. And our people have no legitimacy, no quality decision to ask them because they control every military. Our police force, this is our police badge of the 1960s. That's the West Cameroon police badge. La Republique discard our police force because they have the goal and ultimate aim to discard our culture and continue dismantling our cultural identity. Have a governor. We usually have an elected representative. La Republique appointed their own representative because their representative appointed by La Republique is answering to La Republique rather than to the indigenous. And that is why when we ask for an elected representative, you all know that the council, when they ask about an elected council officials, when the council were elected during the SDF era, they have to appoint a government delegate that will supervise because they must have that control. La Republique must have that control over the people to make decisions. Despite the fact that they elect their own representative that should have the power to make decisions on behalf of the people. Instead, La Republique appointed a government delegate. The government delegate will supervise the people's own elected officials that will decide it should have been a justice department. It should have been a justice department that both sides must seek if there is an abuse of power, either within the La Republique or within the Southern Cameroon, there should be the justice department to decide and not the government supervised delegate that will decide the ultimate future of the people. And that is the government that I discarded. We believe in a government of accountability, a government that the people elect their own representative, a government that the people have the right to question and to file a court case and have a fair hearing, and that they should focus on the law and nothing else, the law, and not government of La Republique appointed the delegate of public health. The government of La Republic appointed divisional officer. The government of La Republic appointed the governor. The government of La Republic appointed their military, the gendarmerie, the army, whatever is all headed by La Republic to subdue the people of Southern Cameroon, to subdue us to the most redundant level. No, we must rise against our enemy. Our enemy will not subdue us in our home. We must rise against our enemy. This is the moment that we must tell La Republic that every individual of La Republic origin in physically in our territory, we have asked them to relocate. We have asked them to relocate to their territory. And for any individual that is seeking an appointment from La Republic, you ought to leave and go to La Republic because you will no longer be present in the Southern Cameroon territory. Fellow brothers and sisters, we have an enemy in our home, but we must rise against our enemy. We must stand firm shoulder to shoulder against our enemy. We must let the world know that our sovereignty is not negotiable. Our independence is not negotiable. We shall stand against our enemy. Fellow, our Amber boys, I know you are sacrificing your lives. You are sacrificing your life to defend our Southern Cameroon territory. We stand with you. We appreciate. We in the diaspora, there are some people that misconstrue the fact that you all are sacrificing your life for the goodness and the dignity of our nations. But some of us are fighting because we want to show ourselves that we want to be at the head. Whoever is at the head, so long as he has the philosophy of leadership on behalf of the people of Ambazonian, it shouldn't be a matter that we should be punching each other. It is time. Call your brother and say, "Boy, I apologize. Say, if I have did something wrong, please forgive me." And we move forward. Even though your enemy that hate you, call them, leave a message, type your message. That boy, I am sorry. If you are not, you didn't commit any wrong by punching your brother, fighting because you want to be shown. Why don't just let go? Fellow brothers, we are giving advantage to the enemy because we are fighting among ourselves rather than the enemy. We are giving our hand to the enemy to control us because we can agree we want to be shown as the leader. No, this is not the time to be shown. I stand as myself, and if you can stand here and speak on this microphone, I am welcome you, and that is why I open the opportunity. If you want to join me live, and let's speak about the Southern Cameroon territory. Whether whoever be the leadership, so long as the goal is not to negotiate with La Republic. Our terms of negotiation with La Republic is the terms of separation. And recognize the boundary. By punching your brother, oh, he did this, or he did this. If you don't have any credible evidence to show that is what you have said, then there's no need to formulate lies that you cannot back it up. Call your brother, even at the midst of this thing. Say, I am sorry. This is me. I know we've had our grievances. And we're willing to accept the apology. And that is where we have the spirit. Because the more we are more stronger, the more we unite, the more we stand together, the more the enemy knew that they are at the point of failure. Fellow brothers, when I see the images that one is punching against one another, or on the WhatsApp, that this one did this one did this. No. Call your brother and say, "Boo, I know you did this." And be willing to accept and acknowledge and apologize for what you did. Because when you stand on the defensive, you may be on the wrong side because you cannot defend people who know that what you say is the lie. So therefore, apologize and acknowledge a mistake. Then we can move forward in a one platform. I think the spirit of our people, our brothers back home, are in the dense lions, but they are willing to face the lion. Whereas all of us are outside the lions. but we know what we can do to assist them morally, spiritually, monetarily, and whatever aspect we can to help them so that we eliminate La Republic, so that we can recognize a place we once called home. I know some of our leaders that they did terrible thing to allow La Republic to negotiate. So we are in the midst of this atrocity. But we can't focus on what happened behind, because there is no way we can change what happened in the 50s and the 60s. But we simply have to acknowledge what happened, and so that we can be able to move forward with the ample evidence that we have, with the ample strength we have, with the ample of technology we have, with the information we have, and how we can pursue that information. I urge all of us, call one person that you thought you would never call him. Call him and leave a voice message. Say, Funton Daniel asked you to do so. If you know someone that you knew, you would never talk with him because of the atrocity. Call him and say, I, Funton, told you to call him, that you are moving forward, that let them recognize that our sovereignty is no longer negotiable. We are moving forward with our nations. And call the person and apologize that we are moving forward. Brothers, we are at war. We will no longer allow the enemy to supersede us. Let's face the fact. And there are people within our midst. I know when we start this fight, many people were hidden. Nobody wanted to show his face, his or her face. They say, oh, no, no, no. They were so afraid. You know why they were so afraid? Because they grew in a army occupation of La Republique, and that we have no voice, and that you cannot even speak. You are under a tight military of La Republique, that you have no voice, really voice, because you believe that once you open your mouth, you will be scrutinized. You cannot even talk. We grow in that fearful spirit. We grow in that fearful spirit. So, but I am here to let you know that, to revamp your spirit, that we will no longer be fear of La Republique. We will no longer fear La Republique. We will let La Republique to their boundary, to the dent of. We're gonna take La Republique to the dense lion's mouth, and then we're gonna crucify them and let them that Ambazonian, small not be sick. You all know the song of Dr. Jongu Fonta. Mr. Dr. Jongu Fonta stand and say, my people, they may make a wrong mistake. They may make decisions that affect us today. But we learn from that mistakes. And I don't think we should make the same mistake again. We should be more stronger. We should be stronger. We should efficiently and effectively face our enemy. Fellow brothers, we know that our interim president, Ayok Tabise Seko, is in La Republique jail. So that gives us the impression that any La Republique that is in Southern Cameroon, especially the governor's office, whenever the divisional officer, as you said, stage them at them, because we know the topography of our land. As we know as much as the topography of our land, then let no La Republique, any citizen of La Republique that is currently held any position that was appointed by La Republique should be in any Southern Cameroon territory. Should be. Whether it's a divisional officer, whether whoever it is, it's time we start picking them like the cricket and tell them we have given them ample time to leave. We have given them ample enough time to leave the Southern Cameroon, but yet they seem to be not to pay close attention. So every refugee of La Republique in Southern Cameroon, we need to fish them out. Fish them out. And one thing I will let you to understand, especially our Amber boys, do not send those images to our Facebook. Keep the images that we're going to take to the United Nations. So no images. Keep keep every information. Channel it to appropriate process. We should create a process that we should give it to the hierarchy person, and the hierarchy person keep to another one, so that we keep our images, so that we carry on whatever we have, whatever energy we have, whatever technology we have, use it and inflict to the enemy. To the enemy, be prepared for the eventuality. Fellow brothers and sisters, I don't want to take so much of your time. I want to take a moment to thank all of you that today we were able to see Ayuk Tabiseseko and the cabinet. But that gave us the strong spirit that we need to revenge very heavily to the casualty of land public, and so that our nations must be free and must be free indeed. We have gone through enough of land public. Then it's time we need to let go land public and start building our nation for the goodness of all fellow citizens of Ambazonia. I want to take a moment to thank all of you for watching and wish you all a happy good evening and a good night.